Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Humanitarian Transformation Network by Candace. Hope everyone is having a blessed, beautiful day today. I am going to be speaking about common sense human rights in the 21st century, and as well as a socioeconomic researcher, I am going to be applying my socioeconomic research and experiences to the modern day 21st century human rights, breaking it down. So what I do is I tell you the articles and then I apply it into the 21st century, which is now. Okay. So thank everybody for joining, and thank everybody for listening and hopefully taking this information and using it for the betterment of the greater good. Okay. So we are going, actually, I did a video already that I put together for articles. I believe it was 21 through 23, but I wanted to also speak about articles 21 and 21 through 23. And then we're going to go on to 24, 25, and 26. Okay. um, anyway, so let's get started. And I'm going to be reading my notes because I do not have all the articles memorized. Okay, so everybody. So please bear with me. Okay, the first article we're going to discuss is Article 21. And it states, everyone has the right to take part in the government of his country directly through freely chosen representatives. And yes, everyone, no matter what race, creed, color, ethnicity you are, you have the right to take part in your government. And I can tell you this, as a prior political candidate that has run for U.S. Congress, that's not the case. That is not happening. There is predominantly one race in the government. So there's a lot of, and why I say that is because I was involved in politics and I saw that there was other races not being given the opportunity. There are specific races that are dominating the entire government. And it is not fair because those other races that aren't privy to getting into these governmental positions, they are not able to defend their race and to help uplift their race. So there's a big imbalance in a lot of governments. And as well, we all know that some governments, carry dictatorship in other countries. And that's not right as well, because, every human being is the same. And I express this all the time. We all lay down and get up the same way. So no other human being has the right to control another human being. Yes, we need law and order. Yes, we do, because we don't want people running amok, okay, and tearing down, cities and states and, counties. We don't need that. So, we do need order, but the order is supposed to be for the betterment of the country, betterment of the state, and betterment of the people. Okay, but what I have seen that in some countries, in some government, it's about money, greed, power, and control. And that should not be, because, like I said, we are all human beings. No other human being has the right to control another human being. Okay, just because they have a prominent position does not mean anything, because they're only going to be in that. Well, if it's a dictatorship, they steal the elections. Let's just be honest. There's a lot of election theft going on because people want to retain that power and control, and retain that financial abundance that comes with being in power and control, which is ruining a lot of countries, and it is ruining a lot of people. It is harming a lot of people. So those things are not being fairly, how can I say, the government is not electing people to, work for the greater good of the entire human race. Because like in the United States is a big melting pot from people from all over the world. But there are specific races that, don't have any leadership. And, that's not fair to their people because they have no leadership. And if you don't understand, a specific race's culture or history, how can you lead that race or culture because you don't understand the people? So, there's a great imbalance within a lot of governments. Okay, so I wanted to say that. Let's go on to number 2. And this is still Article 21. Everyone has the right to equal access to public service in his country. Um, United States does good with that. Well, sometimes. There's some favoritism going on. I can tell you that right now, because specific races are getting into public service, nonprofits, and government entities, and they are only working for their own people, leaving other races out in the cold. So there's a lot of specific races that aren't, doing right by other races because they only care about their people. And that's not right either. Okay, so we all have to work together as a human race, whether we like it or not. There is a human race. Okay, and it shouldn't be based on the color of skin or a nationality or anything like that. So I can tell you guys for a fact there's an imbalance in that. There's a lot of imbalances and a lot of injustices going on in public service. I can tell you that much. Okay, from my own personal experiences and socioeconomic research. Okay, number 3 of Article 21. The will of the people shall be the basis of the authority of government. This will and shall be expressed in periodic and genuine elections, which shall be the universal and equal suffrages, and shall be held by secret vote by equivalent free voting procedures. I can speak about this as well. Being a prior political candidate, there's an imbalance in as far as election go. There is definitely an imbalance in that aspect as well. I can tell you that much. Things are being manipulated for specific political candidates, so they remain in office to, continue with their personal hidden agendas. Put it like that. So we have a problem with that. There is a lot of fraud. There's a lot of corruption. I actually experienced it myself, running for U.S. Congress. I did experience fraud. And but it's so distorted that I don't even know if it would ever, if it can be fixed. I really don't know. I just kind of gave up on the issue because it's so much corruption and fraud that is going on within the political arena. And that's why you see these people getting reelected and reelected and reelected and reelected, because it's a form of manipulation and control. And it's not fair to the people. And it's not fair to those that want to hold these public offices and help, help humanity for the greater good. And they're not being given that opportunity. They rather lie, steal, cheat, do what they have to do to remain in power. So that's unbalanced as well. I can tell you that right now. It's unbalanced. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that topic. Hopefully one day it gets fixed, and hopefully, we will have honesty and integrity, not only in the United States, around the world, and there will be political figures that work in the greater good of the people, and as well, not work, that fight against each other, because there's a lot of infighting going on with these political parties. trying to destroy one another. And it shouldn't be that way, because they are there to serve the people and to help the people, not go, fighting all the time. It's so much chaos going on within these political parties, and it's to the point that we don't even know who to trust. Okay, because they're so busy fighting and there's so much stuff going on. You don't even know who to trust these days in regards to these political parties, which is a problem for the people, and it's a problem for humanity, because the people are the ones that are being impacted. And a lot of them, just to get in, they'll say and do whatever they need to do to get in, and then when they get in, it's a whole nother story. Okay, they don't do what they say they were going to do to help the people. So that's a whole nother issue that we are dealing with, not only in the United States but around the world. And hopefully one day that will be fixed. So let's move on to Article 23. Everyone has the right to work, to free choice of employment, to just and favorable conditions to work, and protection against unemployment. That is true, but that also goes on to who owns that company, who owns that business, who owns that corporation. There's a lot of racial injustices in a lot of businesses and a lot of corporations, and even in government entities. There is a lot of racial injustice that is occurring, and it has been occurring for quite some time. So hopefully that area can be fixed as well. We used to have, I think it's called the labor laws. We used to have the labor laws. I don't know what happened to that. And the labor laws consisted of each business corporation had to hire a specific amount of certain people. But now, specifically in the United States, now, like the minority term, and I did a research paper on this. The minority term used to be applied to mostly African Americans, that corporations and companies had to hire a specific amount of African Americans in their businesses. But now the minority term includes people from all around the world. So this has knocked the African American down as a low hanging fruit, because now you have all of these other uh, people from around the world that are included in this minority term. So it is hindering the African American race from prospering. So, that's a big factor that we are dealing with. I actually brought this up to the Small Business Administration. I actually sent them my report in regards to that as well, because, I don't think they were seeing this, that, the minority term consists of people from all around the world now. And, a lot of these companies, they might hire other people from around the world, but they won't hire African Americans, which is causing a problem within the African American race. So, hopefully, this can be addressed as well. Okay, that's why I sent on my research report. So we're going to move on to, I'm not going to say too much more about that. I could say a whole lot, but I'm not going to say too much about it. We're going to move on to Article 23. Article 23 has three parts to it. Article 23 states, everyone has the right to work. Number 2. I'm on Article 23, number 2, not 1. Everyone without any discrimination has the right to equal pay and for equal work. I found that as well too. And especially with Hispanics and African Americans. They do not get equal pay. They do not. And let's just be honest about it. They do not get equal pay. They are not getting paid for what they are worth. They are getting paid the lower portion of the totem pole. And a lot of them aren't even receiving medical benefits, okay, for their families. And a lot of them, work hard, and they still are not getting what they deserve in regards to pay. So there is an imbalance in that as well, which is, saddening, because everyone is the same. Everyone deserves equal pay. Everyone has a family that they must support, feed, keep a roof over their heads. And it's not fair for specific races to feel like they deserve more money than a minority, such as an African American or Latino. That is not right. And that is unfair and unjust. So hopefully one day that can be resolved. And, and the more we think about it, and the more I say it, there's a lot of imbalances going on in regards to these human rights as we go through them in the 21st century. No one is applying these human rights. You guys might hear my dog bark because I think somebody's coming in my house right now. But anyway, a matter of fact, hold on. I'm going to continue. Let me go down to Article 3 of Article 23. Everyone who works has the right to just and favorable remuneration, ensuring for himself and his family an existence worthy of human dignity and supplemented, if necessary, by other means of social protection. And that's the imbalance as well, okay? Because a lot of people are not being treated fairly as human beings. A lot of people, like the homeless, for instance, they are not being treated as human beings with dignity and respect. They're being looked upon as trash. Okay, the low hanging fruit of the world, the poor. They are being used as pawns, and they are not getting the proper rehabilitation that they need. So that's a big imbalance that we're dealing with. And we're going to go on to number 4. Everyone has the right to form and to join trade unions for the protection of his interest. I can tell you guys this. I kind of like unions. I really do, because unions protect the people. Because my family, a lot of my family members were in unions, and they have the financial blessings to this day because of the unions, because the unions protected them. They protected their jobs, they protected their families, because when my families were in unions, we were able to go on a lot of vacations. So I kind of like unions because they do protect the employees, and they watch out for the employees. So I do kind of like unions, but some people don't like unions. It's your own opinions, but in my opinion, I really like unions, because a lot of my elderly family members are, they have their retirement, and that retirement is, helping our family live a better life and not have to worry about, medical care and keeping a roof over their, like our aunts and uncles, great grandmothers, over, keeping a roof over their heads. So I do like unions. Some people don't like unions, but I've seen how unions work, and it has worked out very well for my family. Okay, so it's your choice if you like unions or not, but I do like unions because I see what it has done for my family. Okay, so on to Article 24. Everyone has the right to rest and leisure, including reasonable limitation of working hours and periodic holidays with pay. I can tell you this right now, this is not happening. Okay. As a matter of fact, I had a friend that worked at Amazon, never got a vacation. I mean, rarely got a vacation. It was like slave labor. And we know there's a lot of slave labor going on, especially in China and some other countries. People are not getting the proper vacations and, to spend time with their family and their children. And this is why, with this slave labor, this is why a lot of children turn to the wrong things, because their mother and father are, being enslaved at a job that doesn't care about, they only care about their bottom line. They don't care about their families. And in order for them to keep that job, they have to work some 60 to 70 to 80 hours a week. And yes, that happens. And so, and then in order for them to feed their families and keep a roof over their head, so they have to work those type of hours. They have no other choice unless they find another job. So that is a big thing right now with slave labor, because slave labor is still continuing to go on. I think it's in is it Liberia. They still have slave labor. They are still enslaving people. And another thing is too, that a lot of corporations are going to these third world countries, and I see it even on what is that platform, Fiverr. On that platform Fiverr, these foreign country people are, getting paid $1 to $4 an hour. Okay. And, I'm sorry, you hear my dog. Shh. Hey. And, but I guess that goes a long way in our country, but that's slave labor, $1 to $4 an hour. Could you imagine? Okay. Living off of that type of income. That is not fair. That is not just. That is slave labor. Okay. And it's not even, and because I get some people, because I'm in business. I'm like, oh, go on Fiverr and get somebody, you can pay them $1 to $4 an hour. And to me, I have a conscience. I can't do that. I cannot just pay somebody $1 to $4 an hour, because I know that that's enslavement. Okay, I wouldn't want to make $1 to $4 an hour. So why would I want to do that, to somebody else? And a lot of these corporations do that. That's why, sometimes when you call these banking institutions, or, you call, some of these corporations, you call their customer service hotline, or their customer service line, you're getting somebody in the Philippines, or somewhere else around the world, India, somewhere else. And I can guarantee you those people are probably making $1 to $2 an hour. Okay. Which is unfair and unjust. That, you know, that might, because they don't understand, that might be good for them, but that's not right. You don't do that to people. Okay. You just don't do that to people. All human beings deserve a fair salary for their work. Okay. You don't pay people pennies on the dollar. You don't do that. That's just not right. And me personally, I don't have a conscience. I rather wait, and I rather do what I need to do in order, and other ways to invest in my business. I'm not going to pay somebody $1 to $2 an hour. That's just unfair and not right. And anybody with a soul and a conscience, you would think the same way too, as well. So, um, you know, that's what I think about that topic. Okay, that was Article 24. Let's go on to 25. 25. Everyone has the right to a standard of living adequate for the health and well being of himself and his family, including food, clothing, housing, and medical care, and necessary social services, and the right to security in the event of unemployment, sickness, disability, widowhood, old age, or other lack of livelihood in circumstances beyond his control. I could talk about this one. I really could talk about this one. This is not being done. This is not being done. If this was being done, we would not have a homeless epidemic. We would not. Okay. And because I went through a medical trauma, but I had previously worked, and I previously worked enough to get enough, of my Social Security that I thought I could get, because I went through a medical trauma that I didn't foresee coming due to a medical device. And I went to go apply, for some help, and I couldn't get help. As a matter of fact, I almost couldn't even get help for my surgery because the doctor actually, they, the doctor's office called and said, "Look, you need to give her health right now. Give her medical benefits because we have to do emergency surgery on her." And so that's how I got it. But then after the fact, I couldn't, I was going through a life threatening experience and I couldn't pay my own bills. So I tried to get help and I was denied help. I was denied Social Security. And I ended up homeless on the street because I was denied. And I was like, where is my Social Security? And I got denied 4 times. Because I kept, going back and I got denied 4 times. So they basically, all the money um, that, I had worked for and back in corporate world as an, accounting professional, I couldn't get it. But I saw other people from other countries getting Social Security, which was very upsetting to me because they did not work, as long as I did, and I was an, American citizen. My family is from the United States, so, and, have put in a lot of, work into, this country. So I was like, where is my help? I could not get help. They denied me. So this is not happening. And then as well as a homeless women's advocate, and a researcher, there's a lot of other people like, for instance, 95%, and there is a study out there. I'm not just saying this. 95% of homeless people on Skid Row are African Americans. So that tells you right there that they're not getting the help and assistance that they need. And as well, other homeless people, and especially veterans that fought for, this country, they're not getting help. They're homeless on the street. So Article 25 is definitely not being applied to the people. Okay, only specific races, and this definitely doesn't apply to other countries, the way they live, these third world countries. Okay, these children are starving. These children have no roofs over their heads. And actually, I spoke with uh, a colleague about what was happening in Jamaica. Even in Jamaica, children aren't even going to school, right? So they have, a lot of them have no roof over their head. They have no food, and they're not going to school. So they're just out there, living, getting into things that they shouldn't get into because they don't have the proper economical things for them and their families to function and have proper housing, have proper clothing, okay, and food. They don't have any of these. So this is not happening. This is not happening across the board. I don't care what country you come from, what country you live in. This is not happening across the board. People are not getting the proper food, clothing, housing, and medical care and social services. They're not getting this. And this is crimes against humanity. But no one is seeing this. No one wants to speak about this. Everyone wants to keep quiet. Okay, as long as their family, is getting what they need. It's all about self-gratification. It is not about helping one another and loving thy neighbor. And actually, I have a program that is I put together to help with situations like this, so people can get food, housing, clothing, and the proper social services and proper rehabilitation back into society. I actually created a program for that. But of course, there's a lot of people in these top positions that they think, they're power almighty, and they can just do whatever they want to for their own personal interests. And they forget about the poor. They forget about the homeless. They don't care about them. Okay, they blame it on them. Oh, it's their fault. It's their fault. No, it's not their fault. Because I can tell you, and I'm going to warn a lot of people, you sit up there, this could happen to you at any given moment. You can lose everything that you have at any given moment. You can become sick, just like I became sick, by a birth control, or it was a birth control device, you guys, a medical device, you know, anything. Okay, what was that? that stuff. I forget the name of it, but a lot of people died from cancer. It was the stuff for your yard. I forget the name of it, but anything can happen. Anything can happen. That in a blink of an eye, everything that you work for, everything that you have, can be taken away. And this is what people don't understand. People take things for granted. They think they're so high and mighty and powerful that nothing will ever touch them. That is not the case. Anything can happen to you at any given moment. So be mindful of who you disrespect and who that you look upon as low hanging fruit, because it can happen to you in a blink of an eye. So be mindful. You're supposed to help humanity, not talk about them and make them seem like it's their fault. Okay, everyone has different journeys and different paths that they have been down, and you don't know what happened to that person. And a lot of people want to prejudge people. Okay, and no one should prejudge anyone, because no one is perfect. Your life isn't perfect. You aren't perfect. And just because you have, a higher degree, or you're in a powerful position, does not make you better than the next person, because anything can happen to you in a blink of an eye. And a lot of people take that for granted, and they need to understand they could be on the other side quickly. Like I never thought in my wildest dreams that I was going to be on the other side, because I had a professional career. I had a roof over my head. I was able to travel. Do things that I wanted to do. And in a blink of an eye, it was all taken away, and I had to rebuild myself from a trauma. And that's one of the things that I'm going to be incorporating once I get done with all the articles of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. I'm going to be doing trauma healing classes, because I had to heal myself from trauma, from a devastating trauma, and I had to work back up to where I'm at right now. Okay, that I'm healed. But I did have help of some social services. I did have help that, well, and some states help and some states don't help. I can tell you that much. So it depends on what state you live in too, because some states just, they don't want to help people. They're because they're out for their own personal interests. Some states do better than others. I can tell you that, because I had to move states, okay, in order to get the proper help to get back up on my feet, which is a sad thing. Every state should be the same. Okay, people shouldn't have to move around, and that goes for also, um, a lot of these social services, especially right now, are overloaded. They are overloaded. I can tell you that much, and that is what is raising our national debt. And right now, I believe our national debt is at $22.8 trillion, and that equates to 855,000. I'm going to round it up to $856,000 per person per household. And this is why we are in trouble right now, because there's no way that we are going to be able to pay back that national debt that is going higher and higher and higher. And we're all going to have a problem shortly. This is why the, the people that have the financial backing and the finances to help heal and rehabilitate humanity, we need to come together, because we need to heal, and put in and heal those who need our help, because we can't keep putting it on the government system, because it's going to ruin the entire country of the United States and around the world, because if the United States go down, the entire world goes down as well. And a lot of people don't understand that. So we got to be very mindful. That's why, we have to use our gifts, talents, and our resources to do what we can and do our part to help heal humanity and rehabilitate lives, and make sure people have the proper food, the clothing, the water, the education, and the social services that they need. Because if we help rehabilitate people, then that will, and put them back into society, that will help economical growth. Okay, so I could say a whole lot more about that, but we're going to go on. Number 2, this is Article 25 for all. Motherhood and childhood are entitled to special care and assistance. All children, whether born in or out of wedlock, shall enjoy the same social protection. I could say a lot about this too. Our CPS system is the CPS system, the human trafficking, the foster care. It's a nightmare. It is a nightmare. Children are being tormented. Children are being destroyed. The next generation are being destroyed because of adults. Adults are doing this to children. And to me, any adult that harms a child, or any organization, corporation, government, I don't care who it is, that harms a child, an innocent child, needs to be held accountable. And any adult that pawns their child off on another country or sells them needs to be held accountable. I don't care what country they come from. Like I had mentioned this before, parents that in other countries that are selling their children and like sending them to the United States uncared for and making them go through devastating trials and tribulations to get to the United States, they need to be held accountable in their country. And the children need to be taken care of and taken back to their home country. So hopefully one of their family members can care for that child properly. It is not the responsibility of another country to take care of other countries' children. It is not their responsibility. Okay. And we have a big problem with that. And then we also have problem with foster care and other organizations that put children in dangerous homes, in dangerous situations to ruin their lives, to be molested, child trafficked. There's a lot that children are going through, which is sad. And I believe there needs to be a place where children can go to so they can something like this, boarding schools, boarding houses, that are good. Okay. You got to watch those too. You just have to watch the people that work in these places. Okay. This is what you got to do. You got to make sure they're good people. There's a lot of evil people out here and they're harming children and doing things to children. Okay. Children are the most innocent souls on this earth. Okay. They should not be humiliated and trafficked or anything. Okay. Let them grow up to be a functionable adult without in all this devastation that they're dealing with as a child. And everyone that harms a child, they need to be held accountable. Okay, you don't do nothing to a child. A child is an innocent human being. Okay, they can't fight for themselves. So this is why the good adults need to protect these children. Okay, because there's evil people out there trying to harm children. Let children be children. Okay, like, when I was growing up, we could go outside and play, we had friends, we were in sports. Let children be children. Let them grow up to be functionable adults. Okay, don't deprive them of that. And a lot of people are out here doing that. Okay, these are innocent human beings. Okay, they deserve a right to life and they deserve to be treated with respect and dignity. Okay, and given a proper roof, given the proper clothing, the housing, and they are not to be used as, how can I put it, sexual toys. Okay, they are children, they're babies, they have a whole life ahead of them. They should not be, these evil adults should not be harming children, which is, a violation of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And this is why some children grow up to be serial killers. This is why, because they went through so much as growing up as a child, and they are not to be used for an adult's personal benefit. So we could say a whole lot about that topic too. on Article 25. So if you get a chance, read back into Article 25, because this in the 21st century is very important and people are ignoring it. As a matter of fact, a lot of people are ignoring the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. They just don't want to see it. Okay, and this is why Eleanor Roosevelt was so adamant about this. I see why. God rest her soul, that she was doing the right thing by speaking about these Universal Declaration of Human Rights, because apparently it was happening back then, and it has gotten worse now because a lot of governments around the world do not even identify with these Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So I know Eleanor Roosevelt, she's probably rolling around in her grave right now and seeing what's going on, because no one is applying these laws to humanity. It's all about self-preservation, okay, and destroying humanity. And that's exactly what they're doing in this day and age. And mothers too. Let me go back to another important fact. This was just about 2 weeks ago. There was a study found that African American women in a specific state were dying before and after childbirth. So where was their human rights? How come no one's speaking about that? What's happening to these children? That the mothers are dying before and after, and some are dying like a year after. Something is going on in that area. Something's not right. So things like this needs to be addressed and brought more awareness to, because this is happening in the 21st century. And I feel for those children because they won't have a mother. Some of them might not even have fathers. So that's a whole lot of children without mothers or fathers, and who's going to take care of those children? Hopefully family members got these children, but we don't know. It's just all sad. And so a lot of these human rights are not even being applied in this day and age, and it's sad. Why even have them? Because other human beings don't even care. But this is going to Article 26. Okay. Everyone has the right to education. Education shall be free, at least in the elementary and fundamental stages. Elementary education shall be compulsory. Technical and professional education shall be made generally available, and higher education shall be equally accessible to all on the basis of merit. We do have that. And as far as, children, can go to elementary school for free, but the problem is the teachers. There's no good teachers. I can tell you, I went to school in the 70s. I had good teachers. My teachers taught me very well. And, I am so thankful that from my elementary to my middle school to my high school, I had good teachers. We didn't have all this craziness going on. These days, there's these teachers some of these teachers are not good. There's some teachers that are good, but there's a lot of teachers that are not good. And it is hurting our next generation of children. And then as well as the educational system, the stuff that they're feeding the children is inaccurate. A lot of stuff is inaccurate. Even the books, they have changed the entire curriculum. And it's hurting the next generation. Okay, some of these books shouldn't even be in the schools, and because then some of the standards that they have are it's causing a lot of stress on the children, like those tests that they had to take. I forget the name of those tests, but they had to take those tests, and it was putting a lot of stress on the children. Okay, because you got to pass this test. If you don't pass this test, you're not going to pass. Back in my day, we had specific subjects that we had to pass, which is okay, and we made sure we passed those subjects in order to graduate. Okay, now they have a whole test that you got to pass, and that shouldn't be, okay, because that's a lot of pressure on the children. Okay, they have to pass all these tests, and it puts the pressure on and I had spoken to a lot of teachers too as well that was teaching, that they were basically teaching to the test. Okay, they couldn't teach the kids nothing else because they had to pass the test. And then if the teachers didn't, their class didn't pass the test, then they could, lose their job, okay, or get demoted. So it was a lot of pressure about these children passing this test. I forget the name of that test. And I have school age children, so I don't know. So, but anyway, I know it was a problem because I talked to a lot of teachers. They were so frustrated. They was like, we're basically teaching to the test. And then as well, too, there's another thing that's a big problem. I had spoken to a teacher about this. She was so frustrated because she was like, her American students were falling behind because now she had Hispanic students come and they didn't know English. So she had to focus on the Hispanic students because and try to teach them because they didn't know English, which put the American students. So she was so frustrated. She said, "What am I supposed to do here?" I said, "That's a good point." I said, "I don't know what you want us to do." So, you know, I believe that if you come to this country, you and your children must speak the language. If not, there needs to be teachers that can teach them, English and teach them the American school curriculum in their culture of teachers. Okay, they should be able, like, if they're Hispanic, should be a Hispanic teacher that knows English and Hispanic, and they can teach those children. Okay, but then you're going into a form of segregation there. Okay, so it's a big problem. It's just a big problem. It's a big debacle going on as far as that school system goes. And it's just a mess. It's just a mess. So hopefully we can get all this figured out because there's a whole lot of mess going on right now, okay, in the 21st century in regards to applying these human rights, because a lot of this stuff is not being adhered to. And there's so many problems that, we have to find a way to resolve these issues because it's hurting the next generation. So let's go on to number 3 of Article 26. Parents have a prior right to choose the kind of education that should be given to their children. I agree with that. I wholeheartedly agree. But some of them can't because some of them can't afford. Like a lot of African American students, they can't get into Harvard, they can't get into Yale, okay, they can't get into MIT, okay, unless their parents, basically are millionaires or know somebody that knows somebody to get them in there. So they're not getting the higher education that they want to get. And another thing, they're not their families, the mother and father, aren't able to afford to put them in those private schools. So a lot of children that want to get that higher education are not able to get the education that they want and deserve. And I don't think that's right. That is very unfair to those children and to those parents. So if there is a school that, has a higher education, that parent, no matter how far it is, should be able to put that child in that school, not in their local neighborhood. They should be able to put their children wherever. And that's another problem. It seems like the educational system and the government want to control people's children that they did not birth. How can you control somebody's child when you did not birth them? You cannot control somebody else's child. That is not your child. Okay, so I tell you, it's just down to the point where a lot of human beings think they can control other people. And no other human being has the right to control anyone. They are all human beings. We all have eyes, noses, lips, hands, okay, hair. We lay down and get up the same way. So who are you to think that you can sit out here and control people? And a lot of people don't want to hear this because they're the guilty ones. There's a lot of ones that don't want to listen because they are the ones that is doing this. And it's very sad. But I can tell you this, it's only going to last for so long. Evil can only last for so long. At some point, the whole system will collapse. And actually, I got a report last week that's saying that economically, the system is about to collapse. then what are people going to do? So people better be very mindful of their money, greed, and power and their control over other human beings, because it's going to destroy not only children, it's going to destroy humanity as it is, and the earth. This is why we have the problems that we have right now, because there's so much evil going on, because people do not respect other people. They don't hold people with dignity, respect, and honor like we should. We should hold each other in high regard, no matter where you come from, no matter what you look like. You are a human being and to be respected. And no other human being is better than you are because they hold a powerful position or they have a higher form or degree. They are no better than you are. Okay? Because no one's perfect. And some people walk around here that they're the best thing since sliced bread, and they're not. They're a human being. They're going to live. They were born and they're going to die. Okay? So what makes them think that they're better? They're not. So we all have to be mindful of this. But that concludes articles 21 through 26 for today. It's only 30, so I'm almost done. So then I'm going to move on to, I'm not sure what I'm going to move on to next, but I'm going to move on to my next topic that I want to be speaking to, and about to the masses. But anyway, I hope everybody enjoyed articles 21 through 26. Thank you for joining Humanitarian Transformation Network by Candace. And I have a lot more in store for us. So please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And everyone have a blessed day or night wherever you reside. And looking forward to speaking with you guys again. God bless and have a good night or day.